I think being overworked and like being in the situation that I'm in now is kind of what like set it out of control in a way. I've had times where I feel like I need to be rushed to the hospital because I think that like my heart's failing and I can't breathe and I need like someone to like help me. Sometimes I think I'm dying. Sometimes parts of my body will go numb and it can be really, intense and scary.
Can you relate to any of these anxiety symptoms? This is Kendall Jenner, who is a Kardashian. In case you're like me and you don't know anything about Kendall Jenner or the Kardashians other than Kim Kardashian dated Kanye, Kendall did an interview on Vogue with clinical psychologist Dr. Ramini, and she talks about a little bit about her own social anxiety. And even though I didn't know anything about Kendall Jenner before this interview, I'm honestly glad that I watched this because it is a fantastic interview. So let's get into it. First of all, let me say that I'm not shocked that Kendall struggles with social and general anxiety. I think most of us would, honestly, if we lived this paparazzi-filled lifestyle since we were like 8 years old. I can't even imagine being followed around like that. Like, that would be horrible. But I love the fact that Kendall is not only brave enough to just talk about her struggles with mental health, but she's willing to do this in front of millions of people. That's a whole other level of bravery. But that's not to say that she was fearless about doing this interview.
I am very aware of my anxieties. I don't like the pity party. I don't like talking about when I like don't feel too well. I don't know, I am a little nervous. Just being kind of open about like what I struggle with and like making it known to other people is a bit nerve-wracking.
This just goes to show that no matter how much power, fame, or money that you have, you're still a human being who still struggles with mental health. There's no getting around. What I think is wild is that Kendall struggles with social anxiety while living this lifestyle that she lives. Dr. Ramini asks her about it in this next clip here.
It sounds like social anxiety is something you had even before the pandemic.
Before, I was really overwhelmed, really overworked. I was always around people, and I kind of got really overwhelmed with all of that to the point where I was like, I need to like be alone. Now it's more like, okay, we've all been super isolated to the point where I'm almost like so used to that, that now that things are slowly opening up, if I go to a dinner or if I see a few more of my friends that I'm used to seeing throughout this last year, that gives me anxiety.
Kendall sounds like so many of the teens that I've talked to recently. Many were a little socially anxious or maybe not even socially anxious at all. And then the pandemic happened, they got locked down and seemed to almost lose all social skill that they may or may not have had, and or being anxious in social interactions, which they've never experienced before or maybe experienced very little of. And now they're no longer comfortable being out in social settings because of the fear of, being critiqued by others or even their own friends. This very often creates more than just the fear of, being negatively judged by others, but a lot of times it manifests into physical symptoms to where we can even feel like we're physically sick because of this and not realize that anxiety is actually the cause of it. And I think Kendall asks a really good question about this.
Yeah, and this is all strictly like mental, right? It's just everything mental. That your brain is like,
it's all
you're just going down a rabbit hole.
Yep, you're going down a rabbit hole.
Wow. Because it feels so physical is why I ask you that. It's like, so I've like literally gone to doctors because that's how bad it gets for me, to where I'm like, something's literally wrong.
Have you ever went to the doctor because you just felt like something wasn't right, or maybe you just felt like you were sick, and then come to find out it was really just anxiety causing you to feel that way? You were just feeling, anxiety symptoms? I know I have. And if you don't realize that it's anxiety making you feel this way, those physical symptoms can actually get even worse. This is because anxiety is like a magnifying glass. Anxiety will start to, I'll just let Dr. Amini explain it.
Anxiety is like a magnifying glass, and it magnifies only the bad things. Every little ping, every little this. And so in essence, what we're trying to do is take that magnifying glass and put it to being a regular lens.
I thought this was a good analogy, but you see how this cycle works. Anxiety causes physical symptoms. Then that same anxiety can cause you to start worrying and focus more on those physical symptoms, which starts to get them even more exacerbated. So knowing what anxiety is and what it feels like to you is extremely helpful and important to know. And while social anxiety can produce a lot of negative things in our life, like avoiding social interaction, feeling sick to our stomach, or just excessive worrying, it also can be a good thing. And it's supposed to be a good thing.
Once upon a time, the anxiety is what made us survive.
Yeah.
The anxious people knew to say, tiger coming, don't
Right.
eat those berries, looks like something bad's happening.
Yeah.
Anxiety kept us safe.
Right.
See, anxiety serves a good purpose. Just for a lot of us, we're experiencing too much of it, about far too many different things. But would you believe me if I said social anxiety can be a superpower? Probably not. Dr. Amini explains how so, though.
Anxiety, when it's sort of right in that sweet spot, is a little bit of a superpower because it actually helps you keep yourself safe, keep others safe, and kind of keep you mentally on point. So there's that perfect sweet spot of anxiety where there's just enough where you're performing at the top of your game and keeping. So we want to get you right at the top.
This makes sense, right? But how do we get to that sweet spot? I think the first step is to open up to somebody about the anxiety or the social anxiety that you are feeling. I know, ugh, uncomfortable. But here's how you can open up to somebody about your social anxiety.
Tell your nearest and dearest, practice having the conversation with the people you feel safest with. People will say, oh, I did not know that. And thank you for telling me because I won't push as much.
I can support you and now I'm aware, right?
You don't have to start a YouTube channel like me or give a TEDx talk to tens of thousands of people about your experiences with social anxiety. More than likely, you can do this with someone in your own home. Who is the person that you feel the safest with that you could open up to? For me, this was my mom starting out. This could also be your brother, sister, one of your parents, coworker, teacher, counselor, somebody, the list goes on and on. Tell me in the comments below who the person is that you feel the safest with and are going to open up to. I want to end this video sharing a couple tips that Dr. Amini talks about for people who struggle with social anxiety. What I love about these tips is that they're super simple and honestly, we don't hear these ones hardly at all.
One of the best things a person who's socially anxious can do is prepare. That getting caught, coming late, rushing, that doesn't feel good. So be on time or be a little bit early.
Oh my God, I need to be on time.
Yep,
if I'm not, I freak out.
There you go. So if you can be on time or be a little bit early, even if you're sitting in your car and you're like, perfect, now I'm gonna go in, you're less frenzied and prepare. Learn what you're getting into. Like how many people are gonna be there? What's it gonna feel like? Almost mentally rehearse it a little. That helps a lot.
Love this tip. It reminds me of something that I heard from Eric Thomas a while ago that now I keep as kind of a rule of thumb. On time is late, 15 minutes early is on time, and 30 minutes early is early. I think this is a good guide to follow because showing up late will put anybody in at least somewhat of an anxious state. So set yourself up for success. Her second tip is also very simple and is really just about bringing awareness to your nonverbal communication and how that not only impacts you, but how that impacts the person that you're talking to, how it makes them feel.
A lot of what can help people who are socially anxious is to get good feedback from their audience. So a great way to do it is sort of a 3-point plan for how you can use your body. It's uncrossing I'm gonna uncross my legs too. Uncross your arms. Okay, make eye contact and smile. When you do that, you disarm everyone. And interestingly, when I first met you, You did that right away.
Yeah.
And you put me at ease.
Yeah.
So I felt comfortable. Whereas if I'd come in and you were just sort of distant or aloof or remote,
Right.
I would have felt anxious.
Right.
So that's a dance, and that
Right.
mirrored dance becomes really, it becomes really important.
I first heard of this tip from Amy Cuddy's TED Talk. I never realized before watching it how often that, I crossed my arms and avoided eye contact. And once I did learn this, I started to really pay attention to my body language when I was interacting with someone else. Sometimes I still even find myself, crossing my arms when talking to somebody and coming off as kind of closed off. And then I realize, oh, I'm doing that. Let's get my hands on the arms of the chair so I'm appearing open so I can feel comfortable and so the person I'm talking to feels more comfortable. Can you think back to some of the most recent interactions that you've had with people? What were you doing with your hands, with your eyes? Maybe you can't remember. So start paying attention to where your body goes when you start interacting with people. It might feel weird at first, for example, uncrossing your arms, but you start to get used to it, especially when you realize and know that, hey, this makes me feel more comfortable, and I can see it's making the person in front of me feel more comfortable. I hope you enjoyed this video and most importantly, got some sort of value out of it. If so, please go share it to somebody that you think would also find value out of it. Also, if you haven't subscribed yet, please subscribe to my channel and click on the notification bell so you know the next time I post content. And thank you to everybody who already is subscribed. That's awesome. You all helped me reach my triple digits. I'll talk to you all next week. Peace.